Hello everyone, and today we're going to do an Nahida kit review. We're going to see what her kit is, what she can do from C0 to C6. We're going to cover weapons and everything in between. So let's start. So Nahida, surprisingly, is not a support. She is a very strong DPS character, which is kind of weird because we didn't expect that. She is heavily reliant on elemental mastery, attack, more than anything else. Crit rate, crit damage is also pretty neat. Don't really need energy recharge, and you want to maximize your dendro damage bonus. That would be the stats that she would be looking for. As of the weapon, yes, her best in slot is very good, but it gives you gives you good base attack, and the passive is pretty useful on her. Increases elemental mastery or elemental damage bonus, as well as gives elemental mastery to your party members. Is her best in slot, so it's good. Although I would say there are other alternatives, like the Witsith, maybe even Sackfrag, but I wouldn't recommend it because the CD on her E is only 5 to 6 seconds, which isn't a lot. Plus you don't need to spam it as much, but we'll look at that when we get into the talents. Artifact wise, to be honest, the best would be most probably 2-piece Deepwood, 2-piece Gilded Dreams, as that would give her the most amount of damage. But you can use the 4-piece Gilded Dreams if you want to, but as you can see, this is not good because you can put this set on the 4-piece set of Deepwood Memories on another character, and it'll be still shredding Dendro Res. Let's go to talents. Normal attacks. Well, nothing special here. Normal attacks, just like any other character, does not have anything special. Charge attack, just the average 1, 2, 3, 4, and the charge attack. Nothing special here. It just does pretty good damage, pretty decent scaling, to be honest, on the normal attacks. Charge attack is a bit low, but it's pretty much fine. This is not the main part of her kit, although this, her elemental skill, is going to be the main source of damage. Pretty much, you can select up to 8 opponents, which, to be honest, doesn't matter. You'll probably never be fighting more than 8 opponents anyway. The tap version has a quicker animation, although it has a really short range. I would suggest you just holding it and just quickly selecting all those enemies, because it doesn't take that much longer, and it has a lot more range, pretty much nearly infinite. Enemies hit by this elemental skill will be affected by the most important part of her kit, which is the Seed of Skandha. This is a very important thing because when any character reacts with the seed, as in does an elemental reaction on the enemy with that seed, it will proc the damage similarly to Child's Riptide, and will deal a lot of damage because the scaling on this ability is very strong. The seed's duration is also very good. It's 25 seconds, which is also very long, especially because her skill CD is so low. For instance, even the trial Nahida can hit pretty big numbers. Of course, the elemental skill doesn't do that much damage by itself. Pretty bad scaling even, I'd say. But yeah. Elemental Burst. There's a lot of stuff here, but it's pretty simple. Pretty much, when you cast your burst, depending on the amount of characters in your party, you will gain different bonuses. So, the first one is if you have 1 or 2 pyro characters in your party, it will increase the damage done by the 3 Karma Purification, against like the Child's Riptide from her elemental skill, by this amount of damage. It's very good, because she scales off of the elemental skills so much. Electro will decrease the interval between these hits, which is very strong. The initial interval is 2.5 and it can get down up to 1.9 seconds or 2.1, which is pretty slow when you think about it, yet it still does a lot of damage. Hydro extends the duration of her burst, but it's not as important as she already has 100% uptime already with, and by the way, a lot of uptime. Ganyu has 100% uptime, yet her burst finishes at the same CD as her duration. Nahida already has a 1.5 seconds extra. The energy cost is also very low, so you can spam this always. Important thing to note, this does not do damage. Her burst does not do damage, but pretty much what you're gonna do, you're gonna spam your burst, spam your E's, and spam reactions on the enemy for most amount of damage as her gameplay. Her passives, this is very important. Pretty much, the character with the most elemental mastery in the team will give off 25% to the rest of the team. It is pretty much just like Sucrose, but a little bit better. So you can put a character with full EM on your team like Sucrose again. You can put Sucrose with 1000 EM. First of all, she's going to give you 200 EM to Nahida, and then again with this passive another pretty much 250 to Nahida again, or other party members. The second passive is also very, very important as it increases damage bonus and crit rate of the Riptide procs of the Tree Karma Purification. This is very, very good passive, strong as hell. And you don't even need that much. To gain this, you only need 800, only 800 EM, which already she has 700 without any external buffs. Without even this passive, you can easily max this out. Nahida will probably need around 1000 EM, and the rest is going to go into attack. And yeah, the passive is just she can collect materials in the open world. Pretty meh, pretty cool, but that's not why you would pull this character. For substats, you'd probably go crit, EM. I'd say that would be the best. You can go 3 EM, but crit rate is going to be pretty cool. Crit damage would be pretty decent. Again, if you pair it with something like the Wit Sith, which is a very good weapon for her, or even Sackfrag, you're much better going to go for more crit rate, I'd say. For substance, you want as much crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, and EM as possible. So, yeah. Constellations. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Kusanali's constellations are broken. Her C1, very good. If you need it, you can get it, and I absolutely say that this is a strong constellation. Pretty much, only need one character to get the 2 character bonus. For instance, if you have one Pyro character, you will get the level 2 Pyro damage bonus, as if there was 2 characters. It's pre-broken, because you can have one of every element and get the level 2 from every single bonus. This one, pretty much Burning, Bloom, Hyper Bloom, and Burgeon can crit. Yes, you heard it right. This is stupidly strong. And, as well, decreases defense of enemies by 30%. This is a lot. After Quicken, Aggravate, or Spread. Pretty much this means if you want to play it in Hyper Bloom, Burgeon teams, or Bloom teams, very good. Very, very, very good. If you want to play her in DPS, as a main DPS, which you absolutely can and should, but well, should. You can run her as a support, but she's very good as a DPS as well. This is a very, very good constellation for her entire kit. Her C3 increases skill damage, which is pretty good. Actually very important because it increases this by a lot, which is really, really good. Now, the C4 is kind of meh. It's good. It's a very easy condition to get. It's pretty much, if you apply the mark on at least one enemy using your skill, you can get additional EM. It's pretty neat, nothing important. This lets you probably sacrifice a bit on EM, maybe go for a crit circlet, maybe attack percentage, maybe Dendro damage bonus. But yeah, you can definitely run her with a Dendro damage bonus and crit and EM, most probably because you do need EM. And then C5 is an increase to her burst, not really that important. C5 is probably her worst constellation, C4 is the one after, C3 is a little bit better, C2 very good. Actually, C2 is probably one of the best constellations for her, when the C1 is second to best, I guess. And then the C6. Pretty much every time you attack an enemy with Nahida, with her normal charge attacks, it procs the mark, the 3 karma purification mark, with a little bit more damage scaling. But at this point, your elemental skill will do probably more, as it will be level 13, probably, at max. But yeah, it is a little bit more than her maxed out elemental skill. Pretty much, you can proc it very fast. Instead of a 2.5 second cooldown, or 1.9 if you use 2 electro characters, well, or 1 because you already have C1 if you're rolling for C6. She can proc the mark a lot, up to 6 times, after she uses her burst. And this is very strong. Again, her elemental skill is the main source of damage for her. So the C6 increases this by a lot. And this does a lot of damage. This scaling can hit up to 50k, 100k maybe even, with a good build on every single one, especially if you're using Hyperbloom, if you're using Spread. Anyway, Nahida ended up being a very strong Dendro DPS unit. And I would strongly recommend her if you want to pull her, if you like her kit, because she is very strong, even at C0, even at C6. That's all for me. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice one.